Hi, I hope you're having a good day today. Today's video is about losing hope about dating. If you're out here really discouraged, you feel like it's a whole bunch of sharks out here, and you're wondering, gosh, maybe maybe it wasn't so bad being married. Yeah, I know it can be very, very discouraging. So first, let me just say thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you find really helpful and encouraging. Most of the time I come on here, and since I have a lawyer, I am a lawyer and I have a legal background, I'm always telling you about the dangers and things you should be looking out for and be very, very careful of. And I'm going to do just a little bit of that today, but today's video is really intended to be very encouraging, to give you some hope that you have a future if you are single and you're wondering, oh my gosh, is there ever going to be anybody out here who's decent, at least, who acts like they know, how to behave like a human being. Because a lot of times it can feel like that, right? Then, it can really wear on you and really bring you down as far as what your prospects are for the future. If you look at, you say, okay, wow, is this the pool of eligible men to date and marry? Then, what I've seen so far is not very encouraging. But first of all, yes, you do have to be, discriminating. You do have to, have, standards that you want to have for yourself. And I want to say for you, don't compromise on that. If there are things that are deal breakers that are, or even in the area that are questionable, then absolutely, maintain those boundaries, maintain that standard that you want, because, sharing time and space with someone, is very important. Your time is very important. And so, you don't want to end up spending time and resources and money on someone who ultimately never had a chance of ever making you happy. For whatever reason that is. Maybe they're not a decent human being. Maybe they're not, just the right person for you. Maybe they're a nice person, but it is not the right person for you. And so one of the main things I would say is make sure that you have a clear picture in your mind of what you want, and exactly what you want and what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. So that's really, the important guideline. And also, too, just making sure that you're very careful about who you're going out with. And, hopefully you'll able to have, it would be someone that may introduce you, that you may have a common friend or something like that. Someone who can give you additional information, not just relying on what the person tells you, but someone who knows them and can, kind of almost vouch for them, essentially. So those things are important. But on the other side of that, there is hope. There's absolutely, sorry, I don't know why every time I step out here, sorry about that, something wants to try to bite me. But there is hope. There are people out here who, are decent. They have a good family background. They are good parents, if they have kids, and, they just want to find someone that they can share their lives with, whether that be for, maybe they're not ready to get married yet, maybe they're just getting back out in the dating scene, and, they're, looking to share, their lives with. Or if it's someone who knows that they want to get married, wherever you're at. Me personally, I'm always, I just believe in dating with a purpose, and my purpose is to get remarried. So thank you for the thumbs up. But you just may be right now, okay, I'm not too sure about the marriage thing, but I know I want to start dating, start sharing my life and getting to know someone. And wherever you are, that's fine. But there is hope out there. And one good thing that I learned from my dear, wonderful friend, Julia, someone dear to her told her, you know what, when you're out volunteering, when you're out doing something that's, maybe a hobby, or you're serving in church, or even in your community, you'll run into, or you'll start to meet people who have the same interests, that has the same values that you do. That's what's so important. Usually when people are sacrificing their time and their energy doing something that they care about, you start to pair up with values, and that's really the key. So when you start to do that, that's when things start to take off. That's when you start meeting people who are like-minded like you are, who may have the same passions. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's inside the church. You could have a passion about being a mentor to young people, and you might meet someone who you think may be interesting and who is single, who shares that same value. Hey Charnel, it's good to see you too. Thank you for the thumbs up. So that's one major important thing. You want to make sure you're meeting people who share the same values. So that's one thing that I would do. And I'm not saying you should just serve just to meet somebody. I'm not saying that. But I met someone when I was at the Apple store getting my flipping phone fixed. Maybe somebody who shares, your passion for, technology, or who has something in common with you, who's progressive. They're there trying to get their things, straightened out because they have things that they want to accomplish. I've gone to the Apple store many times, even for my phone. I also have a Mac, so I've also gone for my computer. And I've also gone to, if there was something that I didn't know how to do, say for example, when I was learning iMovie, when I was editing film and videos and things like that, I met up with someone else who was actually at the same class. That didn't necessarily go anywhere, but that was a few years ago. But things like that, when you're working on a project and you end up at the Apple store, taking their iMovie class, intro to iMovie, or intro to whatever class. You share the same passion, the same, ideas, the same drive. That's what's so important. Yes, you're right, super important. Many of the same values shared, absolutely. That's why a lot of people say, hey, if you can meet someone maybe at church or something like that, then you have a better chance of finding someone who shares the same values. Now, just let me just say, I find that true in my own life. I was serving in a particular ministry, and I'm dating someone who's also was serving in the same area of ministry, and so we share those same values and the same passions and those things that we think is important for sharing your time. Hey Willow, it's good to see you. So those same passions, those same cares, and the same type of mindset. And so you have so much further of a leg up of getting through a lot of muckety muck. Now, it's not to say that there weren't some questionable folks that I've met along in the years that I've been divorced, that I've met in church. Not everybody who goes to church necessarily has a pure motive for doing that. Sorry to say that, but that's true. So that's not a total safeguard for you, but just know that that tends to help along the way. And so if you have a mind to just keep your eyes open, when you're serving, when you are spending time with your hobby, you're spending time, wherever you're at, the Apple store. You just don't know. But when you're open and you have an attitude of just knowing that, yesterday may be crappy, last week may have been a disaster, but today's a new day. A lot of that shines through. That really is what I call broadcasting. You don't realize that you're doing it. It's your body language, it's your disposition, it's your attitude. And you may not utter a word, but people pick up on that, and people find that to be attractive. So, so just trying to have that upbeat positivity in your brain, no matter what you're facing that day, can really help you to, just be that person who shines and who stands out. even when you don't even know. You could be at, Kroger's, the grocery store, and, meet up with somebody. It's not funny, but, I always say, start at church first. But one lady suggested, you know what? I was just in the frozen food section and met somebody. And I guess apparently, guys, they don't usually, some guys don't cook. And so they'll, you bump into them in a frozen dinner section or frozen food, prepared food section, because they don't cook that much, but that's where they are. And so I'm not saying, you should be, milling around in, your every single grocery store that's near you, hoping to meet up with a single guy. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, if you're going about your business every day, if you're going there because you need food anyhow, and you end up in the, food section frozen food section because you need veggies, frozen veggies, then, hey, then, you're there, and, God makes that divine appointment. But just know that there is hope out there. I'm going to be turning 50 in December. And so, you know what? It happens. It does happen. So don't lose hope. God knows the desires of your heart. And God says all throughout the Bible that it's good for us to do life together, with a community of believers, and also to be, if you want to be married, to be married. And so He knows the desires of your heart. He knows exactly where you are. What's going on in your life is not a surprise to Him. He knows the end from the beginning. And, if you can just continue to, keep yourself open, if there are things that you want to work on, I'm still working on my weight, I'm still working on a lot of other things, making sure that my business is where I want it to be. All of those things are important, but just know that God knows the desires of your heart, and start praying for that person that you want to be in a relationship with. Continue praying. You may not know his name. You may not know what he looks like. That's fine. You may not have met him. That's fine. Some people think I'm crazy when I tell them, pray for your kids and your grandkids. And you're like, I don't have any kids yet. I say, that's fine. Start praying for them. Doesn't matter whether they exist or not, or if you know them or not. Start praying for them. Your prayers matter. They move things in the atmosphere. I'm a firm believer of that. I've seen it too many times to say it's not true. And so start praying for that person that you want to be in a relationship with, whether you want him to be, where you want him to be in his career, where you want him to be, financially responsible, you want him to be spiritually mature, you want him to be healthy. Sometimes that's something that we forget to ask for. God, I want my husband to be healthy. I want him to have, decades of good health and being healthy. And, one of those things that can attract that is you also having that as a high priority, as a high value for yourself, and that you will start to attract the healthy, spiritually mature, and emotionally stable and healthy person you want to be in relationship with. So just know, I see it over and over again. I have a friend who is in her early 70s, started dating. Okay, and met someone who was special to her. So, don't say, oh, I'm this age, I'm that age, it won't happen for me. In her early 70s, met someone of good quality, who is an awesome person, who loves the Lord. So, don't say it won't happen for you. Keep your words in agreement with heaven. Keep your words in agreement with heaven. And keep your words in agreement with who God says you are, especially fearfully, wonderfully made, loving, worthy of love. You are lovable. All of those good things. Keep that in the forefront of your mind. Keep that. If you start to get, weary, if you start to get worn down, you start to get discouraged. Another important thing, and I'll leave you with this: start to listen and saturate your brain with people who inspire you. That may be, I don't know, I'm just throwing out names. It may be Joel Osteen. It may be Joyce Meyer. It may be, whoever that is. It may be Maya Angelou. Whoever inspires you, whoever, puts forth that positivity, whoever helps you to feel encouraged and hopeful. Start to saturate your brain. Listen to their sermons, listen to, read their books, watch one of their videos. One important person for that for me is Nick Vujicic. Vujicic. And that is the gentleman who has no arms and no legs. If you've been in Barnes and Nobles, you have seen his books. He has no arms. John Gray, that's right. Watch one of his videos. Saturate your brain with people who help you stay in positivity and help you stay in hope and help you to remind you of who God says you are. All right? So hope you find that helpful. He's out there. He's out there. Start praying for them. Storm heaven with your prayers. And don't give up. Don't give up. What did I say? Don't give up. Okay? I love you, ladies. Willow, Charnel. It might be a couple other people that I can't see right now. But I love you, ladies. You encourage me so much. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. If you know of anybody who's struggling with this, who may need some coaching one-on-one, this is one of the other things that I do. You can visit my website at moveonafterdivorce.com. Click on, there's a button that says one-on-one. It's super easy. So I will see you, ladies. Thank you for the thumbs up. I see you in the next video. Take care.